Welcome back to AM Northewest. You know, even though it's cold and flu season again, it doesn't mean that you have to take it lying down. Here to tell us how we can maintain a strong immune system with help from the foods we eat is the author of Eat Your Way to Happiness and registered dietitian, Elizabeth Summer. Good to see you again.
Nice
and you're always healthy, so you must know what you're talking about.
Oh, boy, do I. You better start listening to me.
I am listening to you. I am. And it really, you know what, I try to tell my kids, especially my son, who's 15 and really into cars right now, think of your body as a car. You wouldn't put things into your car that make it run poorly.
Absolutely.
But yet we do that with our bodies all the time. And so likewise, if we eat right, we can stay healthy.
Oh, I absolutely agree. And especially with your immune system, which is really sensitive to what you take in your body. And it is as strong as the building blocks you give it. So what you said to your son is absolutely right. You wouldn't put sawdust into the gas tank of your car. Don't do it to your body. And the number one most important thing for boosting the immune system and keeping your resistance to bugs, to viruses and bacteria, is to load the plate with colorful fruits and vegetables. An apple a day probably isn't enough to keep the doctor away, but 8 to 10 servings of colorful fruits and vegetables loaded with those antioxidants that protect the immune system.
So blueberries, watermelon, I see that's just strawberries.
Watermelon is great, yes.
This time of year, and I love fresh fruit, especially with breakfast and yogurt, but will the dried fruits do the same thing for you?
Well, they're better. Any way I can get fruits and vegetables into you, I'm willing to do that. But the fresher, the better. You know, granted, the best would be if you pulled it right out of your own garden.
Sure.
But the fresher, the better. And things like watermelon, not only are they loaded with those antioxidants, but also loaded, I mean, watermelon's more than 90% water, which you also need to stay hydrated.
So it's a very low calorie but filling kind of food.
Yes, and boost the immune system.
Right,
and they have compounds in them that actually tweak with your genetic code, turning on your cells' production of compounds that then protect the body 24/7 from virus and stuff like that.
All right, good.
I can't emphasize that enough.
Go ahead. I was going to ask you about fats, but I'm going to let you...
Well, that's where I was going,
okay,
so
fats.
We're good. Okay, we know that a high-fat diet suppresses the immune system. So cut out the saturated fats as much as possible. Anything that you get in a drive-through is a no-no, whether it's, you know, Kentucky Fried Chicken or a hamburger or French fries. But some fats, such as the omega-3 fats that you get in salmon or you get in fortified foods or supplements, especially the one DHA, looks like it may help to boost the immune system. So you're better off having salmon rather than, you know, a steak.
Which, sure, but that's not going to happen every night. So do you have to watch? I mean, you know, sometimes you want to drive through, or sometimes you want a good steak. So moderation. I mean, you're
once in a while you can have it, as long as you're loading the plate with those 8 colorful fruits and vegetables. You can have a hamburger.
Think in those terms. If I'm going to have a steak, make sure I'm balancing out the rest of my day with other foods.
Right,
okay,
right,
good.
Right.
So steak for breakfast, lunch, dinner, bad idea. Yeah. Okay, all right, good. All right. Now, what about? I mentioned yogurts. I love yogurt.
Yeah.
Is that helpful?
Yeah, yogurt is another one. There's some healthy bacteria called probiotics in some yogurts, especially Lactobacillus acidophilus or bifidum. Skip the designer yogurts with a bunch of sugar and funny names like immunitis. That's silly. But some of those bacteria may help to actually boost the immune system. So a little bit of yogurt every day. You know, in that watermelon smoothie, put some yogurt.
Okay, good. Now I see you have some soups here, or these are beans actually. How do they play?
Okay, well there's certain nutrients like vitamin E, B6, zinc, magnesium that studies from Loma Linda and even our own Oregon State University have found help to boost the immune system. So getting some of those vitamin B6 foods, the whole grains, bananas, the beans are all good for helping boost the immune system.
See, now I don't think bananas is good because they're not the colorful fruit, but you're saying
they're still okay. Better, certainly better than a French
obviously
fry.
The vegetables, right? Good idea.
Back there. Vitamin C.
Yes.
You know, you hear yes, no. What do you do with that? I don't think it'll prevent the cold, but it definitely reduces the severity and the duration of colds. So make sure that you're getting enough vitamin C, not only from the fruits and vegetables, but take a 500 milligram supplement just in case.
A lot of people, when they feel a cold coming on, suddenly start loading up on the vitamin C. At that point, is it helpful, or is it really too late once the cold hits?
The sooner you can catch it at the very first sign of a cold, if you can start loading up on not only vitamin C, but possibly echinacea, which is the little bottle right there in the front too. It looks like those are some of the things that if you catch it early enough can actually have an effect on reducing the severity.
So as supplements go, would just like a daily vitamin be a good regimen to have regardless?
Well, because nobody eats perfectly.
Right.
On the days when you don't eat perfectly, yes, take a moderate dose, multiple to fill in the gaps, and then take a little bit of extra vitamin C and all those vitamins.
So maybe you don't have to do it every day, I'm hearing, but on days when you're off your diet, you're saying?
Yeah, well, most people aren't eating. I mean, how many people?
I get conflicted information. My doctor says to me, you know, vitamins are a waste because it all flushes out of the system, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
So, but I'm willing to gamble.
Well, for one thing, he's a doctor. He's not a dietitian.
Yeah.
So we're going to start right there,
Yeah.
okay? Most people aren't eating well enough to think that, yes, ideally, anybody worth their weight in nutrition credentials will say go to food first.
Yes.
Most people aren't doing
They
it.
aren't
So
doing it. So
take
there
a
you
multi.
go. I hear what
And
I
then
hear.
chicken soup. There are some studies that grandma's chicken soup may actually help to boost the immune system. No studies on canned soup, but, you know, once you've got the cold, if you need something soothing, a little bit of chicken
You know
soup.
what I would guess
might
the
just
grandma soup, what that all means is when it's grandma soup, it's probably a balanced meal to go with.
That helps. And add some vegetables to the soup.
Sure,
along with
exactly right. All right, good. All good tips. We'll have them on our website. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too,
And
Dave.
I know you're healthy. All right.